Welcome to today's discussion on the latest international news. I'm Claire.
And I'm Alan. We'll be covering several key stories involving global politics and diplomacy.
Let's start with a developing story out of Iran. The Iranian army chief, Amir Hatami, has announced a plan to offer a bounty for killing or capturing U.S. soldiers.
That's right. The reporting indicates that the bounty is $30,000, with a doubled reward if the action is carried out by a woman. What context did the reports provide around this announcement?
According to the IRNA state news agency, the plan was drawn up following a large number of requests to participate. This move comes amid heightened tensions between Iran and the U.S.
So, what's the potential impact of this announcement? Is it likely to escalate the situation further?
The reports suggest that this move is part of a broader escalation. The Iranian government's stance has been increasingly confrontational towards the U.S. It's worth noting that the exact figures mentioned vary slightly across reports, ranging from $30,000 to $38,388.
I see. The variation in the bounty amount could be due to different exchange rates or sources. What's clear is that this is a significant escalation. How does this fit into the broader context of U.S.-Iran relations?
The tensions have been building for some time, particularly since the U.S. withdrew from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPA, and reimposed sanctions on Iran. This bounty announcement is another provocative step.
Speaking of escalations, let's move to another story involving the U.S. President Trump has ordered the Pentagon to scale back joint military exercises with South Korea.
That's right. The decision comes after Trump stated that South Korea declined to help denuclearize Iran. The joint exercises are a significant component of the military cooperation between the two countries.
How does this decision impact the regional security dynamics? The exercises are meant to deter North Korea's aggression.
Scaling back these exercises could be seen as a reduction in the deterrent capability against North Korea. It's a complex situation, as the exercises are also seen as a provocation by North Korea.
The reporting mentions that Trump cited the cost and tensions with North Korea as reasons. Do we know more about how South Korea reacted to this decision?
The articles indicate that Trump's decision was linked to his perception that South Korea wasn't doing enough to help with Iran. However, there's no clear indication of South Korea's official response to the scaling back of exercises.
Let's shift to a story involving U.S. diplomacy in the Middle East. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law and a key negotiator, held a rare meeting with Hamas's leader.
Yes, this meeting is part of a new diplomatic effort to make progress on the stalled Gaza ceasefire. Kushner met with Hamas chief in Cairo, and he's set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu next.
What are the implications of Kushner's meeting with Hamas? Hamas is considered a terrorist organization by many countries, including the U.S.
This meeting signifies a shift in the U.S. approach, potentially engaging with actors previously avoided. The goal appears to be advancing the Gaza ceasefire and possibly broader peace efforts.
The fact that Kushner's meeting with both Hamas and Netanyahu suggests an attempt to engage all parties involved. Do we know what specific topics were discussed during the meeting with Hamas?
The reports don't go into detail about the discussions, but it's likely that the focus was on the Gaza ceasefire and possibly other elements of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Moving to a different region, Colombia's President Abelardo de la Espriella has asked Trump to suspend tariffs to aid the country's recovery from a devastating earthquake.
That's right. This 7.4 magnitude quake resulted in significant loss of life and damage. De la Esprilla's request is aimed at easing the economic burden on Colombia.
How might suspending tariffs help Colombia's recovery efforts? What kind of economic impact could this have?
Suspending tariffs would likely reduce the cost of imports for Colombia, potentially easing the economic strain caused by the earthquake. It could also help stimulate recovery by making it cheaper for Colombia to import necessary goods.
The Colombian president's request is framed as a humanitarian appeal. Is there any indication of how Trump might respond to this request?
The reports don't provide a clear answer on Trump's potential response. However, given that De La Espriella was backed by Trump in Colombia's presidential election, there might be a positive disposition towards helping Colombia.
Let's move to a story involving a legal matter. The BBC has asked a U.S. court for help in obtaining testimony from members of the Trump family in a defamation lawsuit.
Yes, the BBC is seeking documents and testimony from Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump, and Jared Kushner as part of President Trump's $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the broadcaster.
What are the grounds for this lawsuit, and how does the BBC's request for testimony fit into it?
The lawsuit stems from a BBC report that President Trump claims defamed him. The BBC is arguing that the Trump family members have relevant information for their defense against the lawsuit.
The involvement of high-profile figures like Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner adds complexity to the case. Do we know more about the specific claims made in the lawsuit?
The reports indicate that the lawsuit is related to a BBC report, but the details of the report and the specific defamation claims are not clearly outlined in the articles. As we've covered the major stories, it's clear that global politics are complex and multifaceted. From escalations in the Middle East to diplomatic efforts and legal matters, there's a lot going on the international stage.
Indeed. Each of these stories has significant implications for global stability and diplomacy. Thank you for joining us for this in-depth discussion.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We'll be back with more news analysis soon.